The Chupacabra is a mysterious creature whose legend began in Puerto Rico in the early 1990s. Stories of this strange predator quickly spread across Latin America and into the southern United States. The name Chupacabra comes from Spanish and literally means goat sucker, referring to the way the creature is said to attack its victims, by draining their blood and leaving behind distinctive bite marks. Descriptions of the Chupacabra vary widely depending on the region. In Puerto Rico and much of Latin America, it is often portrayed as a large reptilian creature with an eerie, almost extraterrestrial appearance, featuring a row of spines running from its neck to the base of its tail. In contrast, in the southwestern United States, it is more commonly described as a hairless, deformed dog. Some researchers believe that these sightings may actually involve mutated animals or predators suffering from severe mange. Tsenehale is a mythical creature from the folklore of North America's indigenous peoples, especially associated with the Wallapai tribe of the American Southwest. It is described as a powerful winged predator resembling an eagle or vulture, but often endowed with supernatural traits, fiery plumage, or even the ability to control the weather. According to legend, it lived among steep cliffs and rocky canyons, watching silently from above for prey. It was feared by both humans and animals, and its victims were often unsuspecting travelers who dared to stray too far into its territory. In some versions of the tale, Tsenehale takes on a humanoid form and serves as a guardian of sacred places, protecting them from unwelcome intruders. The Adlet is a mysterious creature from Inuit mythology, a half-human, half-dog being. In traditional stories, they are often portrayed as enemies of humans, towering over both the Inuit and white newcomers. Some tales even depict them as having cannibalistic tendencies. One version of the myth says that the Adlet were born from the union of an Inuit woman and a giant red dog with supernatural powers. The woman gave birth to 10 children. 5 of them resembled their canine father, while the remaining 5 were hybrids who became known as the first Adlet. According to legend, these hybrids were sent across the sea, where they became the ancestors of European nations. This part of the myth might reflect an attempt to explain, in mythical terms, the Inuits' encounters with unknown peoples, possibly even the first Europeans they encountered. The jackalope is a fascinating mythical creature resembling a jackrabbit, but with one striking difference: a pair of antlers, like those of a deer. It originates from American folklore, with its legend especially rooted in the western United States. The jackalope is described as exceptionally fast and clever, and in some stories, it can even mimic the human voice. The legend likely began with sightings of rabbits infected with a papillomavirus, which causes horn-like growths on their heads. Although the jackalope is purely fictional, it has become a cult icon, appearing in countless stories, souvenirs, and pieces of folk art, earning it a lasting place in American pop culture. Amaguk is a giant wolf spirit rooted in Inuit folklore, known among the indigenous peoples of the Arctic and subarctic regions of Greenland, Canada, and Alaska. It takes the form of an enormous wolf, sometimes endowed with supernatural abilities, such as disappearing into a snowstorm or communicating with the spirits of nature. Wolves hold a special place in Arctic indigenous cultures, embodying both the threat of a fierce predator and the reverence owed to a brother from the wild. This duality gives them an ambivalent role in traditional tales. Amaguk could act as a protector of humans, guiding lost hunters to safety and helping them survive the unforgiving Arctic wilderness. At other times, however, it appeared as a menacing, bloodthirsty spirit, attacking anyone who dared to venture out alone after dark. Stikini are mysterious beings rooted in the folklore of the Seminole people, who traditionally inhabited the region of present-day Florida. According to legend, they are witches or shamans who, after nightfall, transform into giant, demonic owls. Before dawn, they return to their human form, leaving behind only the terrifying traces of their nocturnal hunts. Their prey is the human heart. They hunt in darkness, guided by the heightened senses of hearing and sight typical of night predators. What makes the Stikini even more frightening is the fact that, during the day, they are indistinguishable from ordinary members of the village. They live among people, hiding their true nature, which means no one can ever be certain who their neighbor really is. The Piasa is a mythical creature from the legends of indigenous peoples who once lived in the Mississippi River Valley. According to local lore, it resembled a giant dragon with the head of a lion or a human, deer-like antlers, bat-like wings, and a long serpentine tail. The Piasa struck fear into nearby communities, abducting people and carrying them off to its hidden lair in the surrounding caves. One well-known legend tells of a native chief named Watoga who managed to defeat the beast. He instructed his bravest warriors to hide near the entrance of the cave where the monster lived. Acting as bait, he stepped forward to draw the Piasa out. As the creature swooped down to attack, the hidden warriors launched a volley of poisoned arrows, bringing its reign of terror to an end. One of the most famous images of the Piasa was once painted on the cliffs near what is now Alton, Illinois. Although the original mural was destroyed in the 19th century, a restored version continues to attract both locals and tourists, preserving the memory of this ancient legend. The Nimerigar are small but fiercely warlike beings from the folklore of the Shoshone people who lived in what is now Wyoming and Idaho. According to legend, these tiny warriors were highly skilled in combat, using miniature bows and poisoned arrows capable of killing much larger opponents. Some stories claim they also possessed magical abilities that allowed them to disappear without a trace or perform other supernatural feats. The Nimerigar were said to live high in the mountains, hiding in caves and attacking anyone who ventured too close to their secret dwellings. In some versions of the legend, a mortally wounded Nimerigar would take their own life rather than fall into enemy hands. Other accounts tell of harsh practices within their community. If someone became too sick or too old to contribute to the group, they would be killed with a swift blow to the head. As brutal as it sounds, this was believed to be a way of preserving the strength and survival of a people living in a harsh, mountainous environment. The legend of the Nimerigar gained renewed attention in the 20th century, especially after a discovery in the 1930s in a cave in Wyoming. There, researchers found the mummified remains of a small humanoid, later known as Pedro, the San Pedro mummy. For some, this was proof of the truth behind the old stories. However, scientists later concluded that the remains likely belonged to a human, possibly a member of a Native American tribe who had a rare genetic condition. Despite this, the legend of the fierce mountain-dwelling little people lives on, continuing to intrigue enthusiasts of mythology and cryptozoology alike.